Hello and welcome to Coming Home with Mama T. I'm your host, Tiara, aka Mama T. And on this podcast, we explore the journey of creating the life of our desires through mastering manifestation, maintaining a positive mindset, and living luxuriously. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Sarah Itkin joining us today. Sarah combines her gifts as a psychic medium, angel channel, and training as a mental health therapist with a master's in social work to provide psychic development programs, coaching, and holistic integrated intuitive readings. Sarah guides her clients in up-leveling their spiritual connection by teaching her unique intuitive development course and providing professional one-on-one intuitive development training. As an intuitive coach, she uses her intuitive abilities and mental health training to help clients remove blocks to achieve goals, cope with challenging life experiences, and break negative beliefs and behavioral patterning. Oh, I love it. I love it. Welcome so much, Sarah. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. Your voice is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Um, so my first question for you is, how did you develop your psychic abilities?
So actually, I was really struggling. I struggled a lot with anxiety and depression for most of my life. And I I think I was, calling for something. I was asking for help. I didn't know who I was talking to. I just knew that I believed in God. I believe in a, higher power. And I think I was just asking for divine guidance.
Mm.
And I I had a psychic dream that my friend, my really good friend from high school passed away. And it was very, very, very detailed. And it was so disturbing that I called her the next day to see if she were still alive.
Mhm.
And she was, but then a year and a half later, she did pass away, and everything that happened in my dream came true.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I just realized that I was psychic. But I was just having psychic dreams here and there, and they became more and more intense. And I just thought to myself, well, what is the point? Like, I'm okay, I have psychic abilities, it's really cool, but I couldn't see myself giving readings or anything like that. And then finally, I had a ultra intense dream about one of my clients. And I was basically in my dream, I was like a victim of atrocities. And then when I saw my client a few days later, she told me that she survived a war and that all these things happened and the war happened to me in my dream. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to get help. And I found a teacher. Um, and I decided to work with her. And then all my abilities just exploded from there. And I had no idea that I was capable of giving readings, but my abilities as an angel channel and a medium, and that all came just popping through and changed my life forever.
I love it. So can you describe what an angel channel is?
Sure. Well, basically, I can hear angels just speaking, and I close my eyes and I can hear messages as I'm giving messages to my clients, and they're just speaking through me. I don't let myself completely just go so that suddenly I'm in a trance and I'm channeling them. But I feel like they just give me guidance on what to say and supporting my clients and providing these like up uplifting healing messages for how they can do better in all aspects of life
I love
and
that.
answer any questions that they have too.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. I know in my own personal journey, it's been like trusting in that knowledge and that information that's coming through, and not second guessing it has always been like a practice for me, or it became a practice for me to be able to allow myself to just trust in what's coming through. So, can you talk a little bit about your journey with trusting your intuition and your gifts?
Yes. So basically, trusting my intuition was just constantly not trusting my intuition. It was like constantly I had to be proven that I was right. I I have like with Rebecca, that dream. It was like, yes, I'm psychic with my friend who passed. There
Hmm.
was no denying that. But when it came to connecting to angels, it felt, and and in my intuitive, so when I was giving readings for other people, it's like it's verified by them. They'll tell me whether or not I was right or wrong. But for myself, I connect like intuition with that connecting to the angels is like one.
Mhm.
And even though it's coming from two different sources. And so basically, I would ask the angels to prove to me that my intuition was right. And so I would ask for all these signs, and I keep asking over and over again. And then I get a sign, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm right. I'm, intuitive, and um, everything's going to be okay. And then I would start to doubt again. And then I
Mhm.
ask for another sign, I get the sign. And then it was a cycle, just a
Right.
constant cycle until finally I just knew that I could trust, if that makes sense.
That totally
Yeah.
makes sense. And I think that, leaning into like that mindset work, right? So we
Hmm.
we might seek validation as we're going through our life and getting, love from somewhere else. Is kind of like I see validation kind of as like how do we get love for ourselves in a way.
Yes.
And so with that and that practice of like, okay, well, let me ask for approval, ask for validation, ask for the proof, ask for all of these things. It kind of is like a mirror to be like, okay, well, I love myself and I trust myself, and therefore I can let go of seeking the validation from outside of self and really lean
Hmm.
into the self work with I think is amazing. Have you found that to be kind of a similar journey?
Yeah, and but it's just funny because, like I said, when I give readings, I really, really trust myself. I really trust my intuition. But then when it comes to my own self-love, like that is a process. Just, having to deal with my own insecurities and things
Mhm.
like that. It was just a process. But yeah, it's like trial and error. And then, I still doubt sometimes, whether or not I'm on the right path, or I know I'm on the right path, but sometimes I doubt, is it really going to happen? You know what I mean?
Right, right. 100%.
Hmm.
I love that. And so have you always utilized your gifts? So like were you someone that like, you came into this world and you're like, okay, I can do readings, or I'm wanting to tap into those gifts, or did you ever have a time where you wanted to just shy away and like quote unquote be normal?
Well, I really, on the surface level, I was very disappointed that I didn't turn out to be quote unquote normal. But I mean, what happened to me was basically like I didn't know I was psychic at all, didn't know I was at all, that I had the dreams. Then boom, it all exploded. And then immediately it was like, yes, I want to do this. This is what
Yeah.
I want to do. This is what I want to do for work. And then I did. But there was no like easing into it. There was no, memory of a child of connecting to a spirit or anything like that. I was like, I thought I was normal, and then I wasn't. Again, quote unquote.
Quote unquote. Right, right. What is normal anyway?
Right, right.
I love that. And so for anyone that might be interested in connecting in with their intuition or like spirit squad, what would you recommend them do to start that journey?
Well, first, it's about knowing and just saying to yourself, I am an intuitive being, because you're a spiritual being having a human experience. And this
Hmm.
is actually our birthright. And I teach courses about basically, I teach intuitive development courses, and then I have this little mini course about removing blocks to your intuition, because you have blocks to your intuition. Otherwise, you would just be using it, just like in indigenous cultures. I don't know every single indigenous group in the world, and I don't know all of the history, but of course, like in First Nations, we have an example of people who just use their intuition all the time. And so why can't the dominant, in our dominant culture, I think that has been suppressed for many, many different ways and reasons. But so it's about reclaiming that gift. It's like it's not about am I intuitive? It's about, yes, you are intuitive. So what are you going to do about it? And then, really the reason why I teach is because I find that it's easy. It's just easier to get guidance, like rather than having to walk through this path on your own.
Hmm.
I find it's helpful. Of course, you have it all within you, but it's helpful to remove these layers that are blocking you and to like connect to different portals of connection so that you can intentionally use your psychic abilities, or your connect to your angels or spirit guides, deceased loved ones, ancestors. Just having these learning these different portals of connection to do so can be really, really helpful.
I love that. I love it. I like to think of it as like remembering, like we all have this
Yes.
access. It's just whether or not, I like if you think of it as like a veil, right? Like how close are we to it and how thin is it for us? And are we willing to remove the veil completely so we can have full access
Mm-hmm.
to our gifts? So I love
Mm-hmm.
that. I love it.
I think a lot of people are scared about what would happen if they truly access their gifts, because it's
Mhm.
like thinking that they would be opening a Pandora's box. And there's, some people have been trained to believe that it's against, religion, or it's
Mhm.
against God, or whatever higher power people believe in to do so. And so, yeah, it's a whole bunch of juicy things that
Oh yeah.
that could use some unpacking to make the process easier.
There's so many layers to it. I know for myself,
Mm-hmm.
on this journey, it was, well, like I was brought up one way with one belief structure, and then now I'm having an opportunity to deepen my relationship with God, my relationship with source, universe, whichever word people like to use. I am able to have a deeper connection is how I see it, versus like really shunning something that I did before, more like, oh, wow, this is a whole new level, which is super exciting to explore.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So in that vein, um, what hmm, what has been some of your most like memorable moments of like really like, oh, that's my intuition and this is amazing, and like, and can you share that with us?
Yeah. So one, a lot of these memorable moments happened in the beginning when I was doubting
Mhm.
severely and profoundly in myself. And I was sitting by a river bank, and I heard in my head, look down and you'll hear heart-shaped rocks. And I feel like that was the first, or one of the few times where I had that intuitive hit,
Mhm.
where it wasn't just me, but I thought it was me, talking to myself. So then I looked down and I found a heart-shaped rock. And then I had this conversation saying, yeah, but this isn't a defined enough rock. And then I heard, look down again and you'll find a heart-shaped rock. And so I looked down and I found another heart-shaped rock. And so it was just very, very, um, very affirming. And another time early on, like when I just, before I really, really knew I was connecting to the angels, I saw these little sparks of light and I knew that they were angels. And I said, if you are angels, please play my favorite song. I was listening to a Pandora station on
Mhm.
the radio. And it was a classical station, and I said, play Pachelbel Canon. And so that song came on right away. And then I said, oh, all right. I don't know if I believe you. If you really are angels, and of course I did believe. Of course
Right.
I knew that they were angels, but it was like, it can't be. It's too, you know what I mean? It's too out there.
Right.
It's too crazy. So I said, like, if you really are angels, play my favorite song on the radio. And on the way home, and so I was driving home and I turned on the radio, and that was my favorite song was playing, but it was a special live version. And so,
Ooh.
yeah, so all these things, happening in the beginning where I'd have like these intuitive hits. And then it was kind of like having the hit, having the intuition, and having the angels back me up
Hmm.
that I was correct is kind of like how it all flowed for me.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So, I'm like, I have like multiple questions that I'm trying to like, which one, how do like refine it in a way. So in terms of, because I heard you say like, sometimes people are afraid to like open Pandora's box, if you will, when we're accessing our gifts and we're learning how to utilize our intuition and our clairs and all of that. And my first question is, okay, so especially if you're looking to use it for work, for example, how do we make sure that I know for a fear might be not so much, I don't want to open Pandora's box, but like, how do I know
Right.
that I can keep doing it, right? Like, what if this is like a one-off thing and not like something that
Hmm.
I can continue to have on like a daily basis or like once an hour or whatever? Like, where's the timing in that?
Mm. So when you're not actively like learning how to develop your intuition, then it happens willy-nilly and at random.
Hmm.
That's what I feel like. I feel like a gate needs to open for it to happen whenever you want. For example, um, for example, me giving a reading, like it
Right.
happens when I want to give a reading.
Right. Right.
Um, so if that makes sense, but it's really about when you're dropping into your body and you're fully in your body, I feel like that's when you can experience your intuition more often. Um, and just learning the keys. So maybe I'll just give you some keys right now. The
Yeah.
first one again is recognizing your blocks. What are your belief system? What has been keeping you from listening to your intuition? Think about all the times that you have listened to your intuition. Think about the times where you didn't listen to your intuition. And using that as a way to almost like prove to yourself. And then another key is again dropping into your body. And you can I do these guided meditations, like these decision making exercises where it's like if you drop into your body, your soul is true. Your soul is truth. Your soul is spirit. So you can connect to your soul when you're in your body. That means you can connect to your intuition when you're dropped in.
Yeah.
So if you can drop in and you can figure out like, oh, I'm having a really bad feeling about this in my gut, or oh, you know what I mean? This is giving me the chills. That doesn't feel, that feels great. I'm getting the chills. It feels wonderful. It's just really, I feel like I could just go on and on with this answer, but it's about really learning how do you experience your intuition and then trusting it, going with it. Like, how do you know what the difference is between a thought and an intuitive hit? It's like learning how to decipher those things.
Hmm.
But really, really just always knowing that you can trust your inner guidance. You can trust your soul.
Exactly. Yes, I love that.
I feel like I could just say you could do a million more things, and that's how you do it.
Yeah, just
That's
do
how
all
you
the
do
things.
it.
100%. Because I know from my experience that, especially, you get in terms of dropping into the body, for me, that feels more like a little bit of like a meditative state and really like
Yeah.
bringing myself, like, where do I feel this? Is there a tingling on my fingers? Is that like a good, like, and you get to choose what your signs are, right? Like if you're like, okay, my gut like feels like really, really tight right now. I feel very constricted. To me, that's doesn't feel good. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's more of a negative. It's a no. It's that like my body's saying no, right? But if I feel like tingling and maybe like something bright and like electricity is like that's like excitement, then that says to me, okay, this is a yes. And then you can kind of go
Yeah.
from there, from the yes, no to like having more developed conversation with yourself. But yeah, so like that's kind of how I experience it. But it's such a cool exploration for ourselves, because not everyone looks exactly the same. And I know when I started my journey and working with different coaches, and I would get into my head about it not looking the way that they describe their
Yes.
experience. And I think that was something that kind of like held me back. And like I would, beat myself up about, was like, well, so and so said that it should feel like butterflies are touching your nose. No one ever said that. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like a random example. But like, you like for a visual, like, it's supposed to be like that, and then you shit all over yourself because it doesn't look like what someone else described.
Right.
But really, like, it's fun. I think it's really fun to just let that go and play.
Exactly. And it's about, when I teach, it's about, telling my students, let's discover what your process is. So if we do the psychic development exercise and there's a right or wrong way, like answer or something to this exercise, for example, I have people intuit what shapes I'm holding, and I'll choose a shape out of a square, circle, triangle, or I choose a crystal, and they intuit what crystal I've chosen. And if they get that wrong, it doesn't matter, because it's the process that they're discovering. Like they may see, oh, well, I saw this one crystal like really faded out and it looked all splotchy. So I chose not to pick that one. Because it's so true. It's like everybody has their own unique way of connecting to their intuition. So you can't necessarily tell someone this is how you will experience it, but there are pretty like foundational ways that like knowing what your clairs are, like knowing what way you experience your psychic intuition in your body through your senses, um, and also knowing ways that you tend to self-sabotage, right? You may doubt yourself, and just kind of peeling away at the layers of all that. But it is understanding that, yeah, people think like psychics are, fortune tellers, but that's not necessarily the case because the future can change depending upon the choices you make. So it's just however your intuition shows up to you, it's like you're a beautiful little snowflake that's different from all the other snowflakes, but there's still like water crystals in you. You know what I mean? So you experience it differently.
Exactly. That's so beautiful and wonderful. And saying like, not all psychics tell the future, because as someone that reads tarot, it's always like funny, especially if I go live on like TikTok or something, and it's like I can feel where someone's trying to ask a question, and part of me is like, you're asking, the words you're saying say one thing, but the vibration I'm feeling is another. And I could say like, yes, you're gonna, I don't know, get a new job or whatever the question may be. But it's like, honestly, you're asking me for permission to quit your old job. Like that's
yes,
really
exactly. It's like, am I gonna get a new job? And it's like, you tell me.
Yeah. You tell me, what are you gonna give yourself permission to do?
Do you want a new job? Like, you are not a leaf in the wind.
Yes.
But
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And with that, I feel like it's time I can pull a card for you. Do you have, are you looking for a specific message, or would you like a general reading?
I'll say let's go with general.
Okay. Let us do. So I'm doing from the Light Seers Tarot deck today. It's like my go-to tarot deck. It's not like I'm like, I feel like I never pull out another one because it's just like always on my desk.
I've never seen that before. It looks beautiful.
Oh, I love it. The vibrant colors. It's so wonderful. Alrighty. All right. So dropping into the body as we spoke about earlier. Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
No, it's more like the cards are just like, okay, there's energy, there's things going on.
Okay.
Let's put them in order. They kind of popped out. So we first have let me make sure that I'm in 3 of Swords, which, the visual is like the heart, and there's a lot of strings to it. It's a little bit broken, if you will. So you can say that this 3 of Swords is just like bringing up energy around prior connections that have been painful. And we get to choose, because we have the 2 of Pentacles. It's an invitation to choose. Do you want to hold on to this past pain, this past trauma, this past conflict, if you will? Or do you want to be able to create space for new thoughts and space to be able to move forward? Because we have the Ace of Wands. So it's like talking about your intuition, right?
Yeah.
Moving it to the other side so the colors can pop. I love my branding matches this card. And
I know, it's in your outfit. It's perfect.
How perfect is that? But anyways, so with that beautiful Ace of Wands, it's like new and like taking inspired action, right? So when we let go of the things that are no longer serving us, when we make a very intentional choice to let go of the things that are no longer serving us and create space for inspiration, then we can take that inspired action and move towards what it is that we're looking to create, whether it be a program, love, whatever going on in our life. It is already ours.
Love it.
Yay, beautiful.
Love it.
I'm so glad. And with that, can you share us a little bit more about how people can work with you and what courses you have available?
Yeah, so you can work with me in Several different ways. Well, firstly, I teach intuitive development courses, one-on-one, and you can do that with me anytime. Um, and then I'll have a couple courses, group courses running about more for people who are like, okay, I know I have these gifts, and what do I do with it, and how do I develop it? And so these group courses is a 10-week course, online course on Zoom. And then if you want to work with me to even learn how to give readings and as a professional level, we can do that one-on-one as well. And I can train you to be a professional reader. And then I also, hopefully by the time this airs, I will have my little mini intuit, and it's called Removing Blocks to Your Intuition and Deepening Your Connection. The Spirit course, it's an online self-guided course. And you can get that on my website as well. You can see all my offerings on my website. And you can also get a reading from me. And if you put podcast, if you get a 15% discount with the coupon code podcast, if you would like off a 60-minute reading, if you would like to get a reading from me. And then I also do intuitive coaching, where I combine my abilities as a therapist and with my psychic abilities, my abilities to channel mediumship to provide ongoing support to help you. It's kind of it's like an alternative to therapy, where I incorporate knowledge of what I've learned as a therapist with all the other messages, and so that you can help you heal and overcome anything. And basically, you could just go through my website for all of those things.
I love it. That is beautiful. The link to Sarah's website is going to be in the show notes. So if you would like to work with Sarah, go ahead and check that out. Remember to use the coupon code podcast for 15% off a 60-minute reading. So yay, all that beautiful stuff. So is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience today, Sarah?
I just want to say that you are radiant intuitive beings, and right now, we're going through this amazing evolutionary process in our society. And since you're listening, you're empaths, and you're you're light beings, and I would say light workers. Yes. And just to embrace it, otherwise you wouldn't be here, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So thank you. And I'm so excited for you to access your highest potentials in life.
Yes. Beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today, Sarah. Thank you guys for listening and sharing your time, space, and energy. Remember that you can like, share, follow, subscribe if you haven't already, and you can access everything that I've got going on at www.mamateenergy.com. And with that, I'll say ta-ta for now. Love you.